6 meeting to order. We're having a short a presentation meeting first before the regular meeting. So we need the approval of the agenda. If there's any conflict of interest, please declare it. So can we have approval of the agenda?
So I'll move to approve the agenda. Second.
Moved by Warden Albright, seconded by Councillor Bork. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we have presentation with Renee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So tonight's heritage property deregistration, 10 Rickards Hill Road, Roberts Island. So this item is a public hearing required under Section 16 of the Heritage Property Act in relation to a request to deregister the municipal heritage property located at 10 Rickards Hill Road, Roberts Island, designated in 1987 as the William Ricker House, also known as Quincy Tree Cottage. The purpose of tonight's public hearing is to receive comments from the property owner or any other members of the public before council considers whether to deregister the property. There was one written submission in support of this deregistration process for the property. So, and by the way of the background, the homeowner has applied for deregistration due to deterioration of several character-defining elements, including windows and doors, and the need to complete upgrades required for year-round living, energy efficiency, and safety. So under Section 16 of the Heritage Property Act, council may deregister a property if it has been damaged or lost its heritage value to the point where continued registration is no longer appropriate, provided that this loss was not caused by owner neglect. Outlined in the staff reports, staff reviewed the information submitted, observed significant deterioration to several heritage elements. In many cases, these elements are beyond feasible repair using recognized conservation methods. Staff also noted ongoing shortage of skills, trades with experience in heritage work, which limit restoration options. It also important context that the dwelling was historically used as a seasonal property only. Year-round habitation was not contemplated at the time of designation. Following the close of the public hearing this evening, council may choose to deliberate and make this decision, or may defer the decision to further meeting. This concludes the staff overview. Now turn it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Does council want to make a decision here tonight? Councillor Digdon.
Yes, I'd make a motion to pass second reading of the deregistration request of the heritage property located at 10 Rickers Hill Road, Roberts Island, PID number 900-51251.
You mean during the regular meeting you'll do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was gonna do during the regular meeting.
We'll
Okay.
do it again.
We'll do it again.
I was just getting practice.
That's right. That's what I thought.
Okay.
That's right.
So any questions on this? So we can move to adjourn.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we will now proceed to, I gotta get my. Now we call to order our regular meeting. If there's two regrets tonight, Councillor Surratt and Councillor Boudreau send their regrets. If anybody feels the need to stand and move, please do so. Number 3, approval of the agenda, and if there's any conflict of interest, you can declare it now or when the time comes later on.
Mr. Chairman, I have something that I would like to add to the agenda,
Okay?
and it could be dealt with under information, I believe, new information. I believe there's a section that says that on the agenda.
That would be under,
New business,
9?
possibly? Okay.
okay,
Yes. I just want to give an update on a road paving situation that's about to take place in my district.
Okay,
So road paving, Hubbard's Point.
that would be on the 9B.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Um, Number 4, approval of the minutes. Is there any additions or, pardon me? We need to approve the agenda, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 4, approval of the minutes. Any additions or omissions? Seeing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. 4A, 146 annual council meeting minutes, that's what that was. Staff report. We have all these every second week. It's the clerk report, the department head report, and the building permit report. There's attachments for each one. There any comments from council or questions? Seeing none, we will move to number 6, 7-day notice. There is none. We will move to number 7, old business, policy of events, activities outside the municipality. There's an attachment. Are there any questions on this one? Okay, seeing none, we will move to number 8 for decision and discussion. A request to deregister the heritage property, which is the one we had the presentation. There's an attachment. Would we, I think Councillor Digdon had prepared to make a motion on this one?
It's on the agenda. Councillor Digdon. It is. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for bearing.
No problem.
Suggested motion. To pass second reading of deregistration of heritage property located at 10 Rickers Hill Road, Roberts Island, PID number 900-51251.
Second that.
Okay, it was moved by Councillor Digdon, seconded by Warden Albright. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 8B, first reading, land use bylaw, map amendment request. As a suggested motion, it's quite lengthy. I believe Renee's got something to say on this.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a rezoning request. So the application was to rezone 2 properties, one on Old Abbots Harbor Road, and the other one's on Abbots Harbor Road in Middle West Pubnico. The request is to rezone both properties from marine industrial to mixed use. The 2 properties are located along Abbots Harbor Road. One's about 3.26 acres and mostly vacant, just used for storage. Second one's 1.1 acre and currently used for temporary storage of fishing gear. So neither property is developed at this time. The current zoning and issue right now is both properties are zone marine industrial. So under this zoning, a house cannot be built as a main use. Residential use is only allowed as an accessory to a marine or industrial use. So the applicant wants to build one single unit dwelling, which is not allowed under the current zoning. What the applicant is asking for is just a request change to mixed-use zoning. This would allow the single unit dwelling on the main lot and use a second property for private driveway access, which still allows other uses that are consistent with rural center location. So no municipal planning strategy amendments are required. Policy context, both marine, industrial, and mixed-use zones fall under rural center designation in the municipal planning strategy. So because of this, council is allowed to consider this rezoning. The request is consistent with existing municipal planning strategy policies. Only a land use bylaw map amendment is required. Surrounding areas are mostly marine industrial with some residential, few lots over. And then the public engagement would be required under Municipal Government Act and required as our MPS states. So this include posting a notice sign on the properties which have been posted, advertising the application in the Tri-County Vanguard, notifying nearby property owners, and holding a public hearing just like we had earlier this evening. This ensures residents have a chance to ask questions and provide input. So what happens next is staff will continue to review the application and consider public feedback, and council will either approve the rezoning and proceed or refuse the rezoning with reasons tied to the MPS policy. If a refusal can be appealed by the Nova Scotia Utility Review Board. And then the recommendation that staff is recommending tonight is council give first reading to the land use bylaw amendment, public hearing to be scheduled, and no PAC meeting be required unless significant public concerns are raised. So in closing, this rezoning aligns with the existing rural center policies and allows reasonable residential development and maintains consistency with nearby land uses and it follows proper public process.
Thank you, Renee. So we have a suggested motion here again. Anybody want to make that motion? Is moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Digdon. Any questions?
Yes, I have one very brief question about advertising. The Vanguard has limited circulation compared to what it used to be. And a lot of other free publications that normally come in the mail have disappeared, including the South Shore Breaker. But there's a new publication out, the Window Shopper. And I'm just wondering, should we advertise in this publication or not? What are your thoughts? I don't know.
It's a 1 month issue.
Okay. Well, I'm looking for feedback.
It's a monthly issue. I thought of that also, but it's a monthly issue. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea because it does probably see a lot more homes. It just delays the process for the applicant. That's the only negative part. And I know we're already looking at possible other ways, maybe eliminating the requirement for the Tri-County Vanguard. I reached out to see what the stats were, how many subscribers are, how many people are actually buying it, to see, because maybe our social media is reaching out to more people than the papers. So, but if council wishes to make that change, we'd have to do a municipal planning strategy amendment to remove the wording in there, so.
Thank you for your answer. It makes perfect sense. And also thanks to Councillor Madden. I see your point clearly. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Any more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We will move to 8C, Mariners Center Bridge Financing Request. I believe our CAO, Alain Muse, has more details on this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This request is coming from recent approval from the Mariner Center Board, Mariner Center Management Authority. We have a fairly large project, 2 projects, in fact, happening at the Mariner Center that aren't the expansion. The rink replacement, you'll have seen a lot of pictures online in that area, as well as there'll be some roof repairs. So the contractor for both of those jobs has been engaged, and we're actually the bills are coming in. It was decided, it was recommended at the time that instead of the municipalities providing an annual injection or an injection for that loan or for that for the project, that it would instead authorize the Mariner Center to borrow to do this. So it's a variety of reasons why that would be the case. We're talking about $1.9 million. So if not every municipality has necessarily the cash capacity or priority to pay that all at once, it's a fairly large project. So the decision was that we would consider, that the board would consider borrowing. Of course, in doing that, the board not only needs resolutions from its own board, it also needs a guarantee and a resolution from the municipalities, who are the three owners of the organization. So the purpose of the suggested resolution is to provide that and other information to the credit union so that they could have enough information to authorize a temporary loan. We are on the list for what's called a fall debenture. We don't do this every day, but we borrow from the province of Nova Scotia on larger projects. So the Mariner Center Management Authority has been slated to receive a more permanent loan from the provincial government, which is how we borrow money. We're supposed to borrow through the province. And so the purpose of the loan with the credit union is a bridge or temporary financing until such time as we can secure debt from the province. Why do we have to do this? The province doesn't give you money until the project is completed. So obviously we need the money to pay the bills. So the suggested resolution is attached to your agenda. It is twofold. One is it allows the Mariner Center permission to borrow the money. The second one, and equally important, is that we cannot, the Mariner Center cannot borrow, nor any of our subsidiary companies borrow without your guarantee. And your guarantee is that if the Mariner Center was to not be able to pay that, you would pay your proportionate share of that debt to a maximum of $583,000. It really is just something on paper, because at the end of the day, you're paying the bill either way. You're going to pay it through an annual grant, which then will go into the Mariner Center, and then the Mariner Center will pay the debt off with that money. So at the end of the day, the guarantee is it's something the bank needs, but you're going to pay it either way. It's not, you're not absorbing any more risk by doing that.
So there's nothing else, sorry. Councilor Madden.
So there's nothing unusual about this request that's been done before, and
Yes.
it's a common
It-
practice.
It's common practice, especially if we're borrowing money. Where it's a little different is that it's our subsidiary that's borrowing the money instead.
Yeah.
That's the only wrinkle that's a little different. We haven't done that before. But it's really, instead of us paying our proportionate share of 1.9 million right away, we're paying much smaller amounts over the course of time.
So do we need a motion? Or just-
Yes.
We do.
Yeah, I would need a mover and a seconder to endorse this
So I'll move
resolution.
that we do the bridge funding.
Okay, this is moved by Councillor Madden and seconded by Councillor Burke. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we will move to 8D, Article C62, Code of Conduct for Elected Officials. There's an attachment, and there's a suggested motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Article C61, Code of Conduct for Elected Officials.
Do we have a seconder? It is moved by Warden Albright, seconded by Councillor Digdon. Any questions? Councillor Digdon.
Yes, through you, sir. The down 2-13, the investigator means a person or a tenantity appointed by the municipality under subsection 23C-1 of the Act to receive and investigate complaints. So again, those investigators are ones that are appointed, and that I believe it's just, we couldn't go out and get the investigator or the lawyer of our choice. Like, these are appointed investigators.
So, thank you for that question. We would have appointed an investigator early in the game. It's been a while. That list came from a pre-vetted list that the Association of Municipal Administrators put out. So we cannot use our own lawyer, first of all. We cannot use a lawyer that's in any way attached to us, connected to us, has done work for us in the past. And so of that list, we selected one, and he's out of the Valley, I believe. Charles Thompson, I believe is his name. I'm sorry, I may have messed up his name, but he has been appointed by council and has received one such complaint to which it was a complaint that was denied, but we've not received any complaint since then.
Thank you. I just want, for transparency's sake, I just want the people to know that we just can't get, anyone that may be connected with us in any way, shape, or form.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any more questions? I have one. Article 7, confidential information, and that pertains to the entirety of 7. It's pretty clear what this demands of council. So these, what's being questioned here is information that's being held by staff. Is staff held at the same standard do they have as council is? That's the question. Are we just as secure with council, with staff as we are with council?
Great question through yourself. This code of conduct is only for council. There are other elements around confidentiality that the staff follow. The conditions of employment require confidentiality agreements to be signed off, as well as other forms of keeping private information private. So that's actually done through employment contract as opposed to this policy. We do have a code of conduct policy for staff, however, and inside that it repeats it, that confidential information has to be kept confidential. If confidential, so the difference between whether a counselor does it or whether a staff person does it is it is mentioned in the MGA. So first of all, elected officials required this, whereas employees didn't. Employees were already held to that standard. The only thing that the MGA was saying about confidential information was very light, and it related to if you disclosed information in camera to the public and that in some way, shape, or form that hurt the municipality, you could be held personally, fiscally liable. There are some other regulations around protection of privacy that if you breach private information, you could be charged under another or looked at under that act as well. So in all it's to say is everybody that works for the municipality, elected or appointed, is required to keep this information and to maintain a certain level of confidentiality. The legislation is different in terms of what applies to what. This one is 100% for council.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9A, for correspondence and information, RCMP quarterly report as an attachment. There's no motions here, it's just a quarterly report. Any questions on that? Seeing none, we will move on to financial request, pardon me? 9B, I'm sorry, I had it marked here, I didn't see it on the agenda. Councilor Foster.
That's okay. When I ran for council about 1.5 years ago, one of the issues that was brought to my attention quite often was the condition of the road between Lentz Corner in Tuscott, the Hanging Oak Antique Shop, and the north entrance to the Chemin de la Pointe in Hubbard's Point. Well, people driving along that route in recent days will have noticed stakes along the road, wooden stakes. I've been able to confirm through Colton LeBlanc's office that paving will be taking place shortly. So they're going to be paving from Len Hatfield's old store right up the top of the hill to the north entrance of the Chemin de la Pointe. They're also, at the same time, going to pave a section of road in the Chemin de la Pointe itself, which is in pretty poor condition. So that's great news. As a resident of the village, I'm very pleased, and I'm sure that everybody in my district will be pleased because of that, because they all use that route on a daily basis. I wanted the public to know that I've had a couple people ask me if they were going to pave, and I was quite sure well, Colton confirmed at our recent meeting that we had with him that they would be paving that in the near future. So it's nice to see that action is being taken on that file. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Councillor Foster. Okay, we'll move to 10, financial requests. 10A, grants to organization, amounts 226. There's a suggested motion. This is what we went through last night. The suggested motion is to approve the enclosed list of grants in the amount of $58,600, and there's an attachment.
I'll make that motion.
It is moved by Warden Albright, seconded by Councillor Madden. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 10B, Community Hall, amounts 226. There's, again, these were Community Hall grants that were given out last night. There's a suggested motion to approve the following Community Hall infrastructure grants for a total amount of $35,600. It includes the Club Au-Dessus de Quinin, Twin Village Social Club, Pamlico Area Lions Club, and the Club Acadien. All those fours, there's an attachment, and there's a suggested motion, of course. It moved by Councillor Dignan, seconded by Councillor Bork. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Councillor Dignan.
No, that's good. Thank you. Only thing and I know you mentioned last night a couple of times, so just for anyone that may be watching and wondering about last night, we met with our CAO and some of his staff to go over these grants to organizations and the community hall grants. It took us about 3 hours, 3.5 hours, so there's a lot of work to it. And I'd like to thank, through you, our CAO and his staff for all the work that they do to make it much easier for the counselors when they come in to look this stuff over. They get everything prepared for us, and I know they work hard on it, so thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, so the motion is carried. We'll move to 10C, sponsorship request, Yarmouth Battle for Recovery. Chantal's going to speak on this one. There's an attachment as well.
Thank you. So this application was submitted through our grants to organization process, and if you read the application, you can clearly see that they were asking for a sponsorship of 2 tables. And so since that's what they were asking for, myself and Scott Surratt looked at that and thought that would probably be better suited in a sponsorship field. So we pulled it out. We did show it in your removed grants to organizations so that you could see it. But since it was over $500, we had to bring it forward for you to approve. So it's up to you what you would like to do with it.
So the attachment, this is 2 tables, $450 each, so a total of $900. What's council's wish? Councillor Warden Albright.
Thank you. I know we've been talking a lot lately about our grants and our sponsorship and who we give money to, but one of the things that we've all kind of talked about is how if it affects our residents, then it's something that it would be part of the criteria we want to consider. We all know that mental health and addictions definitely affects residents in our municipality. So I feel like this is an excellent event to sponsor. I have absolutely no problem. I'm looking, the request was for a total of $900. The budget is included. $900 would sponsor 2 tables for Argyle with a total of, I'm trying to remember how many people per table.
I think it's 10.
10?
I think so.
So I am okay with that. I am willing to make a motion that we sponsor 2 tables for this event for a total of $900.
Okay, it is moved by Warden Albright, seconded by Councillor Book. Any more questions on that? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we are winding down here pretty quick. 11, agenda topics or notice of motion from council's next meeting. Is there any? Council Madden.
Thank you, Deputy. It's not something that we should do maybe right immediately, but I understand that Don Houston has retired from the Department of Transportation, or Public Works, as they call it now. And I'd like to probably reach out to the new fellow that's there. I don't know
New
what the
boss.
title was, the new boss, and ask him if we could meet with him at some point in time. Doesn't have to be right away, but the sooner we get to know him, the sooner we can work with them. And I think it's important that we stay in contact with those people. I'd just like to see that being noted. If we could get that done, thank you.
It's a great idea. CEO Muse.
We'll action that request.
Pardon me?
We will action that request,
Okay.
and we'll let you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, as soon as we get a date, we'll set it with council.
Anything else from council? I have an agenda topic for next meeting. It is, I can wait. Councillor Dickon.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I would like to add the multi-path trail for Plymouth on the next agenda. That's it. Councillor Dickon.
Thank you. No, the only thing I was going to ask after, because actually yours was first, in our question period, was there anything that came up on the people that may be watching? Okay, the only reason I'm asking this here this evening is sometimes people say they're sending in questions that are disappearing, or that we're taking questions off or whatever. And that is honestly not the case that I know of. And if that was true, I'd be totally 110% against it. And I honestly don't believe that's happening.
CEO Muse.
So the way that we deal with question period is as follows. We don't delete any comments unless they are outside of our policy. We recently passed a policy that said that anything that's posted that is untrue, racist, there's a list of things that are just simply inappropriate that we have no space for. I don't recall, I can't confirm with 100% accuracy, but I don't recall any question period related comments or questions that were deleted. There may have been one or two comments that were deleted that may have been from spam or from other areas that had nothing to do with us. I know that we have looked at those situations to, like bots can sometimes post. We take question period. It's very rare that municipalities actually take questions online like this. And so I want to be clear about that, because that in and of itself is not something that is required in any way, shape, or form. We do our best to answer the questions, but we're also part of the meeting. This is your meeting. And so there have been times where questions have been asked after question period was over, that we did our best to answer them online as opposed to going back on the agenda and discussing. We don't respond to comments, and we don't respond to questions regarding to legal situations, which we have had in the past. We don't respond to those because it's completely inappropriate to have those kind of discussions, and they're extremely counterproductive. So, however, if somebody has comment about something, if they don't agree with council's opinion, if they don't agree with a comment made by anyone in this meeting, they have every right to post that in our comments. We don't address that as a question. We leave the comments as is. We don't change them. We don't respond to them. Everybody has a right to their opinion and to their comments, to what they choose to say or not say. And we don't delete those comments. So question period comments have not been deleted ever. If people feel that that was in some way, if they had an example where they could prove that that was in fact happening, we will of course accept that as information and we would investigate that, but we track everything. So I'm very confident in that comment. And yeah, I mean, it is, if people still feel like they didn't have their question answered through social media, the absolute best way to deal with that is to actually write in. You know, the convenience of asking the question in a during the quickness of a meeting is one thing, but if you truly have an issue, the best way to deal with that is either a letter to the counselor or a letter that is sent here, can be in my name, could be in anybody's name related to the issue. And at that point, we take that seriously and we try to address that as well as we can, depending on the situation. Obviously, this is relating to questions, not accusations or commentary. It's based on questions around, you know, why is my garbage not consistently being picked up? Is a great example of something that might be a pet peeve of someone that we have absolutely the staff here to seek to address in the best way possible. So, I mean, that's the answer to your comment. Obviously, if that person wished to have information in particular that they felt like they couldn't get, they could find other means to reach out to us if they felt like social media was not being treated satisfactorily in their way.
Councillor Digdon?
No, thank you very much for explaining how things work and all that. I just want, and there was nothing, no one reached out to me, but I do look at the comments afterwards, after each meeting, and I see sometimes people will say, well, they didn't answer my question or no one accept my question. And I just want to make sure that people know that we're fully transparent, you know, and get a hold of their counselors at any time, get a hold of the CAO or the municipal staff. So, you know, that's all. Thank you.
Warden Albright?
Thank you. Also, when I attended just recently, probably a month or so ago, a workshop on how to make meetings more efficient and how to make sure that they run smoothly, and the topic of question period came up, and that we were asked to raise our hands if we had a question period at the end of our meetings, and the Municipality of Argyle is one of a few. Not everybody does that. So it opened up a really interesting conversation around why we do it, why we shouldn't do it, why some people do or not. And I feel like for the most part, the questions that we get are related to topics on our agenda. So that runs quite smoothly. If there's something that comes up and a resident still has a question about something we've talked about, then that is a good way of doing it. However, it was suggested that it is probably better for the resident to send an email, because there may not be a chance for counselors or our CAO to even have the answer at that time. And it can be a little bit stressful if we're asking, although I said our CAO has most of the questions answers most of the time. We can ask him something and he tends to know. But that was a recommendation. I think one of you said it is not a requirement to have question period. We do it as a courtesy. But I feel like so far we've been quite fortunate that people are asking us questions regarding issues on our agenda. So I just wanted to mention that, because you are correct. We don't have to do it. But feel free to send in emails.
Thank you. So we do not have any questions, and we have no in camera. Someone will move to adjourn.